Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. So we're talking about the Hertz SP 4.900. It is the new power sports amplifier that releases later on this week. Hertz has finally stepped into the high power. High power I consider because most motorcycle amplifiers give you 50 watts by 4, 70 watts by 4, and 80 watts by 4. So Hertz offers some really high power speakers in the SPL show line, like the Hertz 690 Neo 6 mines, and these speakers can handle a tremendous amount of power. We're talking over 200 watts RMS each, but they don't have an amplifier that could supply that kind of power. So their previous offering was the HMP 4D, solid amplifier. The reason we don't really use it, we always have it in stock because some clients ask for it. The reason we don't really use it is it's light on power, in our opinion, for what we do. So this amplifier with 4 speakers hooked up will give you 60 watts by 4. So it's really clean power. The Hertz amplifiers are really efficient. So let's say it does 20-30% more than the rated power. You're still at less than 100 watts per channel. To get good power out of this, you got to bridge it. When you bridge it, you're talking 150 by 2. Still light, in my opinion, to run a set of Hertz SX 690 Neos. But you can fit 2 of these in the fairing if you get creative with the trimming and cutting. So for die-hard Hertz fanatics that want to build a full Hertz audio system and still be high power, for example, Hertz offers a set of mid-bass 10s. You're not running it with this. So you would have to use one of their car audio amplifiers, which means it's not going to fit in the fairing. So now with the SP 400, with the SP 4.900, that's no longer an issue. So bridge, this amplifier will give you 500 by 2. If you run it in 2 ohms, so 2 speakers on each channel, or if you use one of the 2 ohm drivers out there, it'll give you, let's see what we got here. It'll give you 250 watts by 4. Or let's say you want to use the back 2 channels to drive a set of 8s or 10s. You have to figure out how to get the impedance to a perfect 4 ohm load with both drivers in either series or parallel. Then this amplifier will give you 500 watts on the back channels. Or if you're running 2 Hertz 10s and they're 4 ohms apiece, you can run 2 of these amplifiers, or you can run this amplifier and this amplifier, which would be a great combination. So this one will run the highs, this one will run the bass, and this is going to give you 500 by 2. So now we finally have options. I've been a Hertz Audison dealer for almost 2 decades now, and I'm happy to see them jump in and finally give us the power that we need to push their drivers or other companies' drivers to their full potential. I've been beating up on this amplifier for 3 hours this morning, and it has not shut off once. The only time I was able to get it to shut off is I put a 2 ohm load on a bridge channel to see how long it would take it to go into protection, and I actually had to run the amp dyno test twice or 3 times, and it finally did go into protection. I just wanted to see what it would do if you hooked it up wrong. So the amplifier, let me measure it for you. Okay, it is 8 inches wide, 5 inches deep, 2 inches tall. Retail price is $800. This amplifier is a workhorse, a powerhouse by standard amplifier standards. It is big power. What excites me the most is Hertz's reliability and their kick-ass warranty. So anything they build, you know, is going to be covered. If you have it installed by an authorized dealer, you're covered under their industry-leading 3-year warranty. So the features on the amp, in order to make it water resistant, they have a side plate that goes here with a gasket to keep water from getting in. So once you set your controls, you just put the cover back on. The pigtails are molded in and weatherproof. These connections concern me a little bit, but I guess since it has a waterproof gasket on the end, once you plug them into each other, you don't have to worry about water getting in. I guess I maybe would heat shrink these, and it would give me more peace of mind. Same thing with the RCA barrels. power harness was a little frustrating, and I'll show you why. Okay, here's the side cover plate. It's got an 1/8 inch rubber gasket, so once it goes on, you will get 0 water on the connections. So the power harness annoys me a little bit because it comes with 3 separate 12 gauge wires for power, 3 separate for grounds. The reason I feel they shouldn't have done it that way is I guarantee there's going to be people out there that only hook up one of the powers, one of the grounds, and then the amp's not going to get enough current and it'll probably overheat, shut off. So what we did was we used 8 gauge wire furls, stripped the wires, fed them all in, used a wire furl crimper, and then it fits perfectly into the distribution block. But if you install this amplifier, please make sure you use all 3 power wires, all 3 ground wires. Put them all together, solder, heat shrink, connect them to an 8 gauge power cable, whatever you're gonna do, or wire furl like we did, and then it's nice and neat. The bridge in the amplifier is a little confusing because normally there would be a diagram to show you which 2 wires to use to bridge. There is no diagram, but if you look in the manual, you're going to use on channel A and B, or channel 1 and 2, whatever you want to call it, you're going to use the first wire, which is the white, and then you're going to use the 4th wire, which is the gray and black, and that's channel 1 and 2 bridged. Then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use the solid green, and then you're going to use the purple and black. So that's channel 4 negative out and channel 3 positive out. On the first one is channel 1 positive out and channel 2 negative out. That creates your 2 bridge channels. So that's the power. If you're just going to hook up 4 speakers, then you do your regular channel 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're bridging the amplifier, you only need to use input 1 and input 3. Here's your blue remote turn-on wire, and that's it. It's pretty simple. The amplifier is pretty flexible. I'm going to show you right now. You can easily fit one in Street Glide. So all the Street Glides, 98 through 13 and 14 through current. On the older ones, it would Velcro to the top of the radio. In the newer one I'm going to show you right now, sits right in the factory boom audio radio bracket. This is a brand new Street Glide, and as you can see, it sits in the factory radio bracket perfectly. So you can run your whole setup off it, 2 6.5s, 6.5s and 6.9s, uppers and lowers, 6.5s, so 4 speakers in the front, 2 6.9s in the back, or maybe 2 8s in the back and uppers and lowers. It's really, really flexible because now we have a good amount of power. Now, fitting 2 of these on the Street Glide would be a mission. You'd have to use some sort of custom rack and rotate the amplifiers. I haven't tried it yet. I'm sure we can get it to fit. I'm thinking it's going to be one here and one here, but I don't know yet. I have the amplifier literally just came to me today, so I'll make another video once I figure out how and if I can fit 2 of these. I'm 90% sure that I can. But when I say me fitting it, it means minimal cutting, minimal modification. Of course, there's builders out there that will just chop it all up and get a bunch of amplifiers to fit. I'm talking about minimal. Get it in there. When the bike goes to the dealer, get serviced, they won't hate you. But one amplifier, no problem. Factory fit. On the road glide, it's going to be a little more difficult because of the headlight. So if you grind the top of the headlight flat, it is the same height as the amplifier we currently have in there. So I know for a fact there's room, but you're gonna have to do a little modification, unlike the Street Glide. So same thing, once we get a little more bench time with the amplifier, we'll see if we get it to fit. I'm actually pretty sure that if we modify the radio bracket, we could slide it in upside down this way. But the road glide's definitely going to take a little more work than the Street Glide. On the older 13 down Road Glide, you could easily fit 2 of these, one on either side or one on top of the radio. The older Road Glide has the most room out of all these Harley bagger motorcycles. So I'm really happy with this amplifier. It's not a perfect solution for everybody, but it is definitely a perfect solution for the die-hard Hertz fanatics. Where I can see a lot of people doing is a combination of this one and this one, because you don't need a lot of power. Let's say you're running horn tweeters like ST25, ST35s, and lower power speakers like the Hertz SX165. So let's say you run 2 sets of SX165 and a set of ST25s in the front. You can run that off this amplifier. So I would do the 4-6 navs on 3 and 4, the horns on 1 and 2, and then use this amplifier to run the 8s or 10s in the bags or your high power 6-vines. But it gives you flexibility with a little elbow grease, maybe a custom rack. You can get them both to fit in the fairing. Street Glide, you could probably get this one to fit behind the headlight, and then this one on top of the rack. I know for a fact Lex is from XCL Customs is working on a rack for a 13 and down Street Glide. We should have that in this week to do a video on, so hopefully a video will be up next week. So with his rack, I'm 100% sure you could fit these 2 amplifiers. On the newer Street Glides, you could definitely fit one with 0 modification. 2 is going to be a squeeze, but it's doable. But you'll see that in some upcoming videos. But Hertz did a great job with this amplifier. So if you're running 2 ohm speakers, you can get 250 watts by 4. If you're running 4 ohm speakers, it's going to give you 160 by 4, which is the most power that Hertz has ever offered us in the power sports amps. And if you bridge it, you're going to do 500 watts by 2 into a 4-ohm load. Really, really great. The failure rate on Hertz amplifiers is almost non-existent, so I expect the same to be the same for this amplifier. Great product. Thank you, Hertz Audison, and I look forward to continuing to test and put this thing through its paces. So on our amp dyno, we're able to get 316 watts per channel, 14 volts. That's the little brother, that's the big brother. This one's double the power of that one. This one's a respectable 75 by 4 at 2 ohms. This one's a powerhouse 250 by 4 at 2 ohms. And of course, the S8 DSP.